Imagine living in a city surrounded by towering walls, believing you're safe. Until one day an army appears on the horizon. The enemy is ruthless, they are patient, and worst of all, you had been warned this would happen. This is the story of the fall of Jerusalem, a moment that changed history forever. For years, prophets like Jeremiah had warned the people of Judah. They told them to turn back to God, to stop worshiping false gods, and to follow his ways. But the leaders, the priests, and even the people refused to listen. They thought they were untouchable, but they were wrong. Judah's leaders became corrupt. Even the priests, the very people who were supposed to guide others in worship, turned away from God. They followed their own desires, ignoring his commandments. King Zedekiah, the ruler of Judah, had a choice. He could listen to Jeremiah's warning and surrender to Babylon, or he could rebel. He chose rebellion, and that decision led to disaster. In the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon laid siege to Jerusalem. For 2 years, the people were trapped. Food ran out, water became scarce, disease spread. Yet, even in the face of suffering, Zedekiah refused to listen to God's warning. One day, the Babylonians broke through. Chaos erupted. The soldiers set fire to homes, palaces, even the great temple of God. The city that once stood as a symbol of God's presence was now in ruins. Zedekiah tried to run, but he was captured near Jericho. The Babylonians brought him before King Nebuchadnezzar, who made him watch as his sons were executed. Then they blinded him and took him away in chains. Jerusalem, the city once promised to be a light to the nations, was left in ashes. This tragedy wasn't just about war, it was about choices. The people of Judah had ignored God's warnings for years, believing they could do whatever they wanted without consequences. But this story isn't just ancient history, it's a lesson. How often do we ignore warnings in our own lives? How many times do we choose our own way, even when we know it's wrong? This tragedy wasn't just about war, it was about choices. The people of Judah had ignored God's warnings for years, believing they could do whatever they wanted without consequences. But this story isn't just ancient history, it's a lesson. How often do we ignore warnings in our own lives? How many times do we choose our own way, even when we know it's wrong? Yet, even in destruction, God wasn't done with his people. He had a plan, a promise, and one day, he would bring them back. The fall of Jerusalem teaches us that turning away from God leads to destruction. But even in our failures, God's mercy is never far away. What choices are you making today?